We're about 2.5 months after Didi's app was removed from the App Store. Their IPO was on June 30th, and about a week later, on July 4th, their app was removed from the App Store. Now, there's lots of information out there on why the app was removed from the App Store. Myself included have created videos on this. In short, it's because Didi was using data inappropriate in accordance with Chinese law. So the most important question right now for investors is, when is the app going to make it back into the App Store? The reason for this is revenue generation almost comes entirely from the app. And while the app is off the App Store, there's no user growth, essentially, because no new users can register. Only existing users, as well as existing drivers, can continue to use the app for ride-hailing services. The other thing that stinks about this is that competitors have a large opportunity to sweep in and gain some market share here, as currently Didi holds, I think, somewhere around 90% of the market for ride-hailing in China. So they have a large hold on the market. This removal from the App Store, essentially prohibiting any new users, any new drivers from joining the app, really provides an incentive for folks that either don't use it or have had some troubles with the service, in the interim, may switch to a competitor. However, those competitors are very small and probably limited in scope. Right now, I think after 2 or 3 months, that could change and it'll pick up traction, especially if it turns into a trend or a fad. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button. It helps me out a ton with the algorithm. Also, comment down below. Let me know what you think about Didi. Now back to your content. And what I mean by trend or fad is essentially if something becomes a little bit more popular in the short term, it could travel by word of mouth and take some significant market share from Didi. However, the operations of another app would have to scale up fairly quickly to take up significant market share, but even 5 or 10% could be huge in terms of their overall revenue growth. Now, I think the market overall for ride-hailing in China is still on the upside, so it doesn't mean that there's the one winner take all in this market, but it will slow the trajectory of growth for Didi overall. So it's really critical that they get that app back in the App Store as soon as possible so they can get new users and growth can resume. Hey, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. I appreciate it more than you know. Now back to your content. Now, if you saw my stock analysis on Didi Global, I'll go ahead and link it here. A large majority of that valuation relies on Didi getting to positive net income in the next 1.5 years. Now, in order to get that, they're going to have to execute on the trajectory they were on before the app was removed from the App Store. So there is probably a pretty decent setback because there's no growth in the last 2.5 months, and it's going to probably be a little bit slower growth once they get the app back on the App Store nonetheless. So it is critical that they get the app back in the App Store. That's super huge. Market share is probably going to take a little bit of a hit. However, like I mentioned before, this isn't a winner-take-all type of market. The market overall is going to gain, but Didi, that assumption that I made was that Didi would retain somewhere around 90% of the market share in China. So if it erodes too much, that valuation will definitely take a hit as well. As I've stated in previous videos, in my opinion, I've been giving Didi around 2 to 3 months to comply and get their app back in the App Store before I start to worry about some market share erosion. Now, we're about 3 weeks out from a 3-month mark, and at the flow of information, the rate that it's been coming, I'm a little hesitant to believe that that's going to come true, meaning that the app will be back on the App Store. So nothing has come out from Didi or from Chinese regulators on when the app is going to be added back to the App Store. The closest thing we have in terms of a whisper of any action being taken is from this article from the South China Morning Post, saying that they saw an internal memo from the CEO of Didi, basically saying that he's committing to some data oversight. So Didi has set up a committee headed by its founder to oversee overhaul data management as the ride-hailing giant ascends to regulator demands in a move described as matter of survival, and that's the term from the CEO. Now, if we come down here a little bit, the committee will be headed by the CEO, will comprise a number of units that oversee data security, cyberspace information security, personal information protection, algorithm security, content security, oversees business privacy. A special secretaries will also created to handle emergency matters relating to data security according to the memo. They also say that they'll fully cooperate with the state investigation. They said that back in the middle of August. And this kind of goes back to that survivals. And inside of that letter, they also say that they had every Didi division sign a letter of commitment about data security. Now, there's nothing in this article that indicates when the app will make it back to the App Store. I've stated that before. But the thing I think that note of this article is that this isn't a requirement from the Chinese regulators. This is really just the CEO saying, we need to do something, it sounds like to me. Maybe there was something from the regulators that say, hey, you need to do this. Hey, there's something you can do to maybe escalate the app, making it back to the App Store. But this really looks kind of like a desperate move from the CEO just to do something, kind of have a signal. I think they kind of wanted this to be leaked out. Maybe they want Chinese regulators to know that they're serious. They want to do something. They want their app back on the App Store, so they're trying to have some goodwill in some sort of way to make sure that China knows that they're trying to comply with the data security laws. But again, it's not a super revealing, nor does it give us a timeline on when they'll have the app back in the App Store, which is unfortunate. Please comment down below and let me know when you think Didi will make it back to the App Store. Don't forget to like and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Frank Finance, out.